Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद्भागवतम पुराण की जय. राजोवाच यद्वेत भगवत आदित्यस्य मेरुं ध्रुवं च प्रदक्षिणेन परिक्रामतो राशिनामभिमुखं प्रचलितं चादप्रदक्षिणं भवतो पवर्णितममुष्य वयं कथमनुमीति महिति.
Hare Krishna, Mahatma Priya Prabhuji. Should we also recite synonyms or go through translation?
No, we can go for the translations, Mataji, because the class only goes with translations in purport.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Translation by Shil Prabhupada. Shil Prabhupada ki jai. King Parikshit inquired from Sukdev Goswami, "My dear Lord, you have already affirmed the truth that the supreme powerful sun god travels around Dhruvalok with both Dhruvalok and Mount Sumeru on his right. Yet at the same time the sun god faces the signs of the zodiac and keeps Sumeru and Dhruvalok on its left. How can we reasonably accept that the sun god proceeds with Sumeru and Dhruvalok on both his left and right simultaneously?" Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Next verse. Maybe would you like to recite? Most welcome. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any devotee would like to recite? Next verse. Sahuvacha yatha kula chakrena brahma mata saha brahma tam tat ashraya yanam pipilekadinam gatir anyab pradesham tareshwar api upalabhyamanatav evam nakshatra rishibhir upalakshitena kala chakradena dhruvam merum cha प्रदक्षिणेन परिध्वबता सह परिध्वमनं तद आश्रयणां सूर्यादीनां ग्रहाणां गतिर् अन्येव नक्षत्रेऽत्रान्तरे रसान्तरे चोपलभ्यमानवत्. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada Maharaj Ji. Sri Sukdev Goswami clearly answered, when a potter's wheel is moving and a small ants located on that big wheel are moving with it, one can see that their motion is different from that of the wheel because they appear sometimes on one part of the wheel and sometimes on another. Similarly, the sign and constellations with Sumeru and Dhruvalok on the right move with the wheel of time, and the ant-like sun and the other planets move with them. The sun and planets, however, are seen in different signs and constellations at different times. This indicates that their motion is different from that of the zodiac and the wheel of the time itself. Hare Krishna. Any devotee would like to recite next verse, verse number 3, which is also the last verse of today's class. In Sanskrit and in... Yes, Prabhu, please.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Saesha Bhagavan Adipurusha Eva Shashan Narayano Lokanam Swadayatmanam Trayimayam Karma Visitti Nimittam Kavibhir Aipicha Edena Vikhyathyamano Dvadasada Vibhachya Shatsu Asantadivishya Rudu Josham Rudukunan Vidati. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The original cause of the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. When great saintly persons, fully aware of the Vedic knowledge, offered praise to the Supreme Person, he descended to this material world in the form of the sun to benefit all the planets and purify fruitive activities. He divided himself into 12 parts and created seasonal forms, beginning with spring. In this way, he created the seasonal qualities such as heat, cold, and so on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for reciting up to this verse. This was the last verse. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, please continue.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity to speak on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Before I speak, I would like to take lessons from everybody so that the right words come at the right time and it will be beneficial for all the devotees, for online and offline, in our own purification, and for the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, chapter 22, and we're reading the first 3 verses, and the title is The Orbits of the Planet. So dear devotees, thank you so much for allowing me to speak on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And this is a very beautiful verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, where we can see a very important mood of a sincere spiritual seeker. King Parikshit Maharaj, although he is a very great emperor and very highly elevated devotee, is not afraid to ask questions. He humbly asked Sukadeva Goswami, how is it possible that the sun is moving in such a way that Dhruvaloka and Mount Meru are sometimes on the right and sometimes on the left? It looks contradictory, and this is very important for us. Spiritual life does not mean blind following. It means inquisitiveness with humility. So just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Tadviti Paripatena Pariprishnana Sevaya. So we must also inquire very, very submissively. So here we could see that Sukadeva Goswami is giving a very practical and a brilliant example. He says, just imagine the potter's wheel. The wheel is rotating, and on that wheel there are some small ants are moving. Now the wheel itself is moving in one direction, but the ants are also moving in their own direction, in their own way. So from one perspective, the ants are moving with the wheel, but from another perspective, they appear to move differently. So this is like an entire universe, like a giant cosmic wheel. It is called Kala Chakra. That is the wheel of time. So now everything is moving, like stars, planets, zodiacal signs. But within that, the sun and the other planets have their own movement also. So sometimes these 3 verses may look a little contradictory, but actually it is a perfectly, synchronized. So now to make it understand, I'll give an example. Okay. So let's say our Muralidhar Prabhu is sitting in a moving train. He's sitting in a train, moving train. And another train also is moving beside you. Okay, Prabhu. So sometimes it looks like your train is moving. Sometimes it looks like other train also is moving. Sometimes you see both stationary. So the perception changes depending upon the reference. For example, see, our material vision is limited, correct? And therefore, when we try to understand the vast universe, we get confused. But Bhagavatam is teaching us, don't depend on our imperfect senses. We all know we have 4 defects, we make mistakes, we cheat, we have imperfect senses, and we're in illusion. So what Bhagavatam says, don't depend only on your imperfect senses, depend on Shastra. Now comes a very, very important philosophical point. What is that? See, these verses are just not teaching some astronomy. they're teaching us the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. See, especially the third verse, it is clearly mentioning that Lord Narayana is the original cause of everything. Now, out of his mercy, he is expanded as the sun god, Surya Narayana, and to maintain the universe. See, he controls light, morning, the sunrise, evening, the sunset. There is a heat, there is a different seasons, time, and life itself. See, without sun, they cannot survive even for a moment. Now we have two eyes, we can see each other. But if the sun is off, there's no power, even the eyes also will not be able to function because we cannot see anything. So when we see the sun, we should not just think, it's like a ball of a fire. We should think this is a Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's energy. And Prabhupada also many times explained that sun and moon are the two eyes of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada explains that the sun is like a eye of the Lord. Just like through the eyes, we perceive everything. Through the sun, the entire universe gets light and also gets direction. And the sun divides itself into 12 parts. That is 12 months. So creating a different seasons like summer season, winter season, rainy season. So what we call is time. What we call is time, season, climate, all are actually manifestation of Krishna's energy. Now, if you see in our daily life, we are all busy. It can be job, family, responsibility. But Bhagavatam is reminding us behind everything there is a divine control. Sometimes life also, things look contradictory. Why? Because problem comes. Everybody has challenges in life. Then why is the success came? Why this delay? Just like the movement of the sun looks confusing for us. Similarly, life situation also looks confusing. But actually, everything is happening under Krishna's perfect arrangement. I'll give you one example. When we don't understand something, we have two options. Either we reject it or either we trust with a higher authority. See, a small child may not understand why doctor is giving an injection, but he trusts that my mother is there, my parents are there. Similarly, we may not fully understand the cosmic structure, but we must trust Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam because it is spoken by a self-realized soul. Sometimes people say, science says this, Bhagavatam says something else, but we should understand that science is always changing. One theory comes, another replaces. But Bhagavatam is called Amal Puran. It's a spotless Purana. It is not changing. It is a perfect knowledge coming from Krishna. And we also see that, when you add a light reflection here for the, so sometimes you see, I'm sure many of us, when you're traveling, you use this GPS, right? Sometimes Google Maps also gets confused, because it's like recalculating. But Krishna's universal system never says recalculating because everything is perfectly arranged. So who is more intelligent, Google Baba or Krishna? It is Krishna one, right? See, I'll tell you, if you see our position, we are like those small ants on the wheel. We're trying to understand the entire universe with our tiny brain. Therefore, Bhagavatam is humbling us. We are humbled. It teaches us you are not the controller, Baba. You're not the controller. You are a control. And when we accept this, then life becomes very, very peaceful. Say what we should do with this knowledge, because we are hearing about the universes, So see, not just intelligently understand, but we should understand through devotion. When we develop devotion, because the same Lord who's controlling the sun is also sitting in our heart as Mahatma, and he is guiding us. is waiting for us to turn towards him. When we turn our face towards Krishna, then that's devotion. When we turn our face towards Maya, Maya, then we are not Krishna consciousness. That's why we should always turn towards Krishna. If you put one step, Krishna puts 10 steps. That's why Srila Prabhupada always emphasized, don't try to understand Krishna fully. Just try to serve him sincerely. I'm sure in a couple of classes also I shared this, we should not try to see Krishna. We should try to serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna wants to see us. Because Krishna reveals himself through bhakti, not through speculation, So it's very, very important, So my respect, I respect all the devotees who are attending this classes. See, these verses are teaching us a three powerful truth. What is that? That the universe is perfectly organized under a divine intelligence, right? The second thing is that our perfection is our perception is limited and imperfect. See, I told about the four defects. So we have a very tiny, puny intelligence. How can you understand the universe of Lord? It's difficult. So our perception is limited and imperfect. So what was the first one? The universe is perfectly organized under a divine intelligence. Second, our perception is limited and imperfect. And the third point which I discussed today is Krishna is the ultimate controller of time, nature, and life. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, right? So this is one thing I was trying to share. So whenever when you see sun rising tomorrow morning, just pause for a moment and think, this is not ordinary. This is Krishna's arrangement for me. And with that mood, when we offer prayers, my dear Lord, just as you are maintaining the entire universe so perfectly, please guide my life, So this is the consciousness that we have to develop, and then it becomes very, very easy. So I'm repeating that in this class, these things, you should understand. What is that? And that's a powerful truth also. What is that? The universe is perfectly organized under a divine intelligence. Second, our perception is limited and imperfect. And third thing is Krishna is the ultimate controller of time, nature, and life. So, and we can understand Krishna only through bhakti, not through speculation. Prabhupada says you should not try to see Krishna, we should try to serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna wants to see us. Why am I saying this? Because the same Lord who's controlling the sun is sitting in everybody's heart as Paramatma. So, so that's why I keep telling you, sincerity is the highest qualification in our bhakti. If we are very sincere, then everything becomes, very easy to understand. That is why, we are all under the three modes, mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. And Bhagavatam is teaching us that you are not the controller, you are controlled. That's why we should not depend upon the Google Baba. We should depend upon Krishna, Akilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayak, because even sometimes Google, it gives a wrong direction. It says recalculating. But Krishna never says like that, So that's why this so-called science theories, they keep on changing, One theory comes, another replaced. But Bhagavatam is called Amal Puran, the spotless Purana. It is not changing. It is a perfect knowledge. Why? Because it's coming from a Krishna. That's why it is very, very important. So as I told you, that when we don't understand something, we always have two things in our mind. One is either reject it or accept it. When accept it, it should be from the higher authority. And Bhagavatam is the higher authority because it's been spoken by realized soul. So everything is happening under Krishna's perfect arrangement. behind everything, there is a divine control, and that is Sri Krishna. So that is one thing I'm trying to explain here. And as I told you, sun and moon are the two eyes of the Lord. Just like through eyes, we can see everything. So through the sun, the entire universe, it gets light and direction. And the same sun is divided into 12 months. Like we have different seasons. Summer, winter, rainy season. That's why time, kala chakra. So what we call time, of seasons or maybe climate, actually they're all manifestation of Krishna's energy. Right? That's why in the beginning of the class, I was sharing that that Lord Narayana, he is the original cause of everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Out of his mercy, he expands as a sun god, Surya Narayana, and then he maintains the universe. He controls the light, heat, season, time, and life itself. That is why we should not see sun just like a ball of fire. We should think this is Krishna's arrangement. This is Krishna's energy. Because as I told you, we should always depend on Shastra, not depend upon the imperfect senses. Because we all have four defects, right? But we should understand our material vision is limited. And therefore, when we try to understand the vast universe, we generally get confused. So just depend on Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam, why? Because it is on Shastra, Shastra Praman, So today's class, that example was amazing. I also liked it, the potter's wheel, the wheel is rotating, right? On that wheel, there are some small ants also moving. Now the wheel itself is moving in one direction, but the ants are also moving in their own direction, in their own way. So from one perspective, the ants are moving with their wheel, but from another perspective, they appear to move differently. And that is why, I gave an example of that train. Suppose you are sitting in a moving train, and another train is moving besides you. Sometimes it looks like your train is moving. Sometimes it looks like other train is moving. Sometimes both seem stationary. So the perception changes depending upon the situation. Similarly, our material vision is limited, limited, limited. This is what I was trying to say. And here, Krishna himself is explaining in Bhagavad Gita that we must always inquire in a submissive way. Then only it will be very pleasing to Krishna. It is Parikshit Maharaj, though he is the great emperor, he is not afraid to ask such questions. Why? Because he's humbly asking to Sukadeva Goswami, how is it possible? The sun is moving in such a way that Dhruvaloka and Mount Meru are sometimes right, sometimes left. He also is telling it looks contradictory. So this is very important for us. Spiritual life does not mean blind following. It means inquisitiveness with humility. Whatever doubts we have to ask with a with a simple heart. Then only we will get the reciprocation. So I will not take much time. So I explained whatever I understood according to my intelligence. So I was just telling you that these verses teach us three powerful truths. What is that? The universe is perfectly organized under the divine intelligence, that is Lord Sri Krishna. And then our perception is limited and imperfect because we have four defects. So it is not easy to understand everything very clearly. That's why our perception is limited. And finally, I was explaining that Krishna is the ultimate controller of time, nature, and life. Why? Because Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So what we understand in today's class that whenever we see sun is rising tomorrow, when the sun is setting in the evening, we have to think this is not ordinary Baba. This is Krishna's arrangement for me. So we have to build up a mood of a prayer. I remember I told you prayer means what God can do minus what you can do. You can always offer prayer. My dear Lord, just as you are maintaining the entire universe so perfectly, please guide my life also. So when we do prayers, then through bhakti, it is very easy to understand Krishna. Or else it's all confusing, you know. So thank you so much. I tried my best to explain. Now, if anybody has any questions, you can shoot me, troubleshoot me. I will try to answer whatever, or any realization or something that point which is right, you can please do share. Hare Krishna. हरे कृष्णा, किसी का कुछ प्रश्न है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं। मैंने समझाया आज के जो 3 श्लोक में। एनीबडी हैज एनी रिफ्लेक्शन, आपको कुछ पॉइंट समझ में आया तो कृपया करके बताइए। हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much once again, Prabhuji. It was a very sweet and short lecture. So, what point I got is, Krishna, you said that universe is perfectly organized, our senses are limited, and Krishna is the ultimate controller, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So, whenever we see the sun, we have to think that there is it is all Krishna's arrangement, and we should be grateful for it. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else like to share or to do कुछ जिगित्सा टिफनी जो आपको समझ में आया? कितने लोगों को समझ में आया वो ट्रेन एग्जांपल बता सकते हैं मुझे? Can someone explain me the train example? I give an example of a train. In the wheel is moving, and ant also moving in the train. Ant also moving in the same wheel in a different way. So to make it understand, I give example of a train. Can someone explain me? समझ में आया आप लोगों को? मुरलीधर, yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you explained that दो ट्रेन है, एक मूव कर रही है और कभी ऐसा लगता है कि एक ही ट्रेन मूव कर रही है, कभी लगता है दोनों मूव कर रही है। मतलब जो बना एक ट्रेन में बैठा है उसको लगता है कभी के जिसमें वो बैठा है वो मूव कर रही है, कभी लगता है सामने वाली मूव कर रही है, कभी लगता है दोनों मूव कर रही है। तो इस तरह से मतलब आपने समझाया।
यस, एक्चुअली बचपन में ना जब मैं ट्रेन में पहला बार जरा था, हमारा ट्रेन रुका था, तो मुझे लगा कि हमारा ट्रेन जा रहा है। तो मैंने बोला कि क्या हो गया? तो बोले कि नहीं हमारा ट्रेन स्टॉप हो गया है, हमारा जो दूसरा ट्रेन है जो नेक्स्ट साइड में वो ट्रेन जा रहा है, बट हमको लगता है कि हमारा ट्रेन निकल रहा है। तो ऐसा होता है क्यों? हमारा जो इंद्रिय है ना वो इम्परफेक्ट है, वी हैव इम्परफेक्ट सेंसेस, हम हमेशा भ्रम में रहते हैं, एंड देन हम लोग गलती भी करते हैं और लोगों को धोखा भी देते हैं। वी हैव 4 डिफेक्ट्स। थैंक यू माता जी, आपने बहुत सुंदर से समझाया, थैंक यू। और मुरलीधर प्रभु, एनीथिंग यू वांट टू शेयर? Tripti माता जी, yes, मुरलीधर प्रभु, what is your understanding?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Actually, you said whatever happens, it is the arrangements of Lord Krishna. Even his expansion of a sun god to control everything as a Narayana. Whenever we see sun god, we have to think over Bhagavan Shri Krishna's arrangement only we are living. Without the sun, we cannot do anything. Each and everything depends on sun only. And we see without sun, we cannot even see the light. We cannot see the world. Nothing is happening without the sun.
Yeah.
So it is.
In a room now, suddenly put off the lights, everything. We cannot see anything for some time. Correct? Though we
Correct.
are either working. And Prabhupada also says sun and moon are the 2 eyes of the Lord. Thank you, Murugadhar Prabhu. You explained very nicely. Thank you, Hari Bol. Anybody
Hare
else
Krishna.
wanted to
Hare
share
Bol.
some points?